Yeah. Wow. Another victory here. We're back on another edition of Post Flight, and we have a lot to talk about Sunday night. I was physically there to make sure that I didn't miss a second of the primetime activity in order to have a chat with you. We're going to hear from Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts. We'll hear some great calls. Miles Sanders will talk about that run game, that historic effort in the run game. So welcome into the Philly Voice Sports channel. We have a lot of things happening across the board here, from our Philly Voice Sports Bets to our Philly Voice Post Flight, which hits every single, or most, the biggest aspects of our Philadelphia Eagles. And look, this was a big victory, but they did squeeze by, and that score was as close as it indicated at the final. You know, sometimes you hear the announcers, and I don't know if the local radio announcer said this or not, but, well, you know, it wasn't really as close as the score. Yes, it was. It absolutely would. That defense did not earn any benefit of the doubt that final Jordan Love touchdown was just a throwaway. What have you? No. There were some issues. There's some warts. There's some problems, dare I say. But this is a football team that continues to work through them. This is a team that continues to show week in and week out, minus 1 week. And listen, against a divisional opponent, if you listen to me or if you watch me on Fox 29, you knew that was coming. You probably made some money betting against the Eagles. Woof, dare I say that, right? But let's look at this thing. The Philadelphia Eagles have lost only one game, which is a division game, which is that now, as we see with the benefit of hindsight, against one of the hottest teams in the NFL, in the Washington Commanders. So this wasn't a slip up. This wasn't a trip up. This wasn't taking a team lightly. They lost to a good football, not a great football team, but they lost to a good football team in division. And since then, they've been skating, scraping, sliding, anything by. And that's sometimes, and I don't know why or how it is. I don't know who to blame. I don't know if it's the talking heads. I don't know who it is. But somehow scraping by, getting by, doing enough, or doing as much as you can just to get a bit, that's all looked at as an overall negative. But your record indicates that you found a way. Bill Parcells was the first that I know to coin that you are what your record is. And I know that a lot of you, actually, based on what the numbers and data and ratings say, not as many of you are locked into what local people have to say, all that. But if you ever have time, there's a guy on Sirius XM NFL radio who really does a fantastic job of talking about the development of Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, and the connection of that and I'll just say this, right, because a lot of times we get caught in our local perspective and we don't get outside of it enough. But Charlie Weiss does a really good job of breaking that connection down. Now, we're going to hear from the internal guys, the guys who made this happen on the field, but there are a lot of former coaches, former players who are talking about this from a specific angle, I think, about the connection these two have, the trust factor that they have, where it's not just the play calling that's coming in, but the ability to move away. And I think the ultimate factor, and Nick Sirianni summed this up beautifully, this is what separates Jalen Hurts from maybe any and every other player in the NFL outside of Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and, of course, the man up top in Patrick Mahomes. But everybody has a plan until what? You get punched in the mouth. Then what happens? Then it's just scramble. Then it's just football. That's it. That's ultimately what this comes down to, and why Nick Sirianni does such a fantastic job explaining how dangerous, yet how vital Jalen Hurts is to the offense.
No, I mean, we didn't, we obviously got a game plan going in to see what we're going to do. And that's why you plan all week. That's why you go through it. Those plays that he makes off schedule, I mean, those are bonuses, right? And so you still have your plan that you want to get to and that you want to do. And so, it just kind of happened that he had some big yards off schedule. And that's what Jalen does. That's where he's special, really special, is he can make those plays with his feet. To be in a city like this with the quarterback history that this city has, it's in that he set a record for most yards by a quarterback rushing. Is pretty special. I mean, that's some unbelievable names that he's following there.
The big thing you're going to hear And it's going to be in my column. I don't want to talk a ton about it. I just want to hint, maybe drop a little tease on the column that's coming. But the big thing you're going to hear is that he's running too much. I'm sure you've already been asked that question if you choose to spend your time waiting or listening or watching or writing or hearing or anything. A tweet could be, right? Not just one form of communication is guilty of this. Everything is. Is he running too much? He's running too much. The offense is geared by him running. You're not just going to hand the football over to Miles Sanders 15, 20, 30, 45 times a game. It's just not going to, and expect the same level of activity, the same level of production, the same level of, dare I even say, magic at this point. It is fueled by Jalen Hurts. It's why you know Gus Edwards, because of Lamar Jackson. It's why you know who Devin Singletary is, because of Josh Allen. Things open up as a result of what Jalen Hurts does. And the offense in the first and second down that we see is predicated a lot. And again, this is a taboo, negative word that brings all these bad connotations, but I don't know why. College run offense that takes advantage of one player. That's all this is. It's putting the ball in the hands of the best player as much as humanly possible. And in this case, the best player is Jalen Hurts. He can run as well as anybody on the team, and he has the best arm, we think, at least. I don't know, maybe Jason Kelce or Quez Watkins has some cannon that's unearthed. But point being is he can make these throws.
Aaron Rodgers looking at his rib area from what we hear on the sideline. Second and goal here. Hurts throwing. End zone touchdown. A.J. Brown gets the feet down.
That's NBC, of course, Sunday Night Football. It doesn't matter. We'll get to Quez and that bomb and the big touchdown, but Jalen Hurts makes throws. Just talked about this on station in Nashville yesterday about the difference between Jalen Hurts and a guy like Justin Fields, who is still finding his way, who is still trying to figure out the NFL. And that's not a negative. That's not a knock. That's just it takes a while to figure this thing out. And watch Jalen Hurts as he grows and progresses. So will the people trying to stop him. And we see that with Josh Allen, with Lamar Jackson, with just dynamic talents who can make throws and kill you with their legs, not just running. And that's the big difference. That's, if you want to look at the evolution of Jalen Hurts this year, it's turning from Justin Fields to now Lamar Josh. It's turning from a guy who is going to escape and still hurt you, and you can still run offense around his legs, to, okay, let's run that on first down. Maybe run that on second down. It's 3rd and 6, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 13. He can make that throw. That's the biggest difference, I think, across the board with the development of Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, O-line. I give all the credit to O-line today. You know, we almost broke the franchise record by like 20, we shot by like 20 yards, but that just shows that we can do this day in, day out, man. Them guys up front, there's something special. So
what's that feel like when you get the run game?
And that's Miles Sanders, because that's the transition to the other conversation that needs to be had here. And look, there's good and there's bad. I didn't want to play a opposing touchdown here, but there were a couple. And Miles Sanders, let's start there. Okay, let's start with the positive, and because it's the same thing, right? So we have to start with the positive, and then we'll get to the negative. But, you know, the thing about Miles Sanders and what he said is so true. And what this team, while Jalen Hurts is the brains, if you will, of this organization, the heart and soul is fueled by Jason Kelce and the two guys to his left and to his right. I mean, let's be fair here. This team was built to take full advantage, I think, of a run game, more so than anything else. That's big. Because it's one thing to neglect that they have Miles Sanders, that they have Gainwell and Scott, and the hell of a quarterback now who can move the football. It's one thing to neglect that. But to build a team around it, my goodness. So, yeah, Miles is right. Now, on the flip side, the defense was absolutely atrocious when it came to stopping the run. We'll talk about that in the 3 keys, but I need more touchdowns. I need them.
2nd and 10, Hurts. Going to try the other side this time. Coming back to get it for the touchdown was Watkins.
Cash the over 1.5 passing touchdown. Who said that, by the way, for Jalen Hurts? This is just fantastic, man. To see big throws made in a game that has been headlined, rightfully so, by what they did on the ground. Look, nobody's going to stop them. They keep running the football like that. Nobody. I need more touchdowns.
Plays a run from the quarterback position first against the Philadelphia Eagles.
From the 4, Gainwell slams it inside and in for an opening Eagles touchdown.
That's it. Just get on the board.
And the Philadelphia Eagles can run it really well.
I need more.
Sanders to the end zone. Touchdown again. What a start for the Eagles.
Again, but what about the first?
Quarter begins with 2nd and goal. And Sanders plowing his way forward and into the end zone.
Thank you.
For
Thank you.
another touchdown.
Thank you. Oh, I love this, man. Absolutely love this. To watch a team just win football games is a beautiful thing. How they win it, they're winning. 10-1 is a hell of a thing to be happy about right now. All right, let's look at the 3 big keys here because they are important to talk about, I think, first and foremost. The biggest key, of course, is that this Philadelphia Eagles team, no matter what's gone wrong, special teams was awful. Defense, at least stopping the run, was atrocious. Yeah, they were able to get to Aaron Rodgers. He's a statue, but I mean, Jordan Love comes in, makes a big play. It's not great. We'll see what happens with Gardner Johnson. He's a little banged up. I know there's some question marks about the depth in the secondary. We'll see. But the biggest key remains. This Philadelphia Eagles team is finding ways to win games, and they've done that now 7 out of their 10 times, and there isn't a shred of negative or bad or dis or any other precursor to it that would be negative that would follow it. Sorry. I'm not going to feel bad about the Philadelphia Eagles finding ways to beat teams in the NFL, which is basically parity each week. Nope, not going to happen. Second key, Jalen Hurts. We'll talk about this a little more in this week's column, but he ain't running too much. We can stop with that nonsense. You can extinguish that little flame immediately. In fact, this is a running league. This is a league that rewards teams every single year who commit to finding a way to run the football. And the difference is that you're told by stat geeks or fantasy nerds like me or betting degenerates like me or morons who shouldn't be on TV like me that this is a pass-happy offense. No. This is a running league. It's always been a running league. The only difference that separates it from being a running league to it's mostly a running league is how many guys each year do you have that can be like Patrick Mahomes? How many guys each year do you have that can make dynamic throws and truly be a passer first? There aren't many. And look, the guy we have here ain't one of them either. All right. Make no illusion. Josh Allen, other guys I bring up. I don't think Lamar is quite yet either. So you have a couple of guys in the NFL each year that are just special, that can make throws that just 95% of the quarterbacks cannot. And then, of course, they're the outliers. So, my God, the NFL is a passing league, and teams race to try and duplicate that. What do you think you're going to duplicate? You think you're going to duplicate a team that runs the ball 35 times a game that wins, 9 to 10, 11 games possibly? Or do you think you're going to duplicate Patrick Mahomes? Now, the third key is not good. The third key is Mike Clay and that special teams unit needs some work. He's a good coach. He's shown that he's able to coach at a competent level. So this is not fire anybody right now. Jonathan Gannon, look, man, when you have all of this praise heaped upon you that you are the next hot coaching candidate and all that, and I'm told that before you're doing it here, I'm sorry, but there is a little bit more emphasis on you better get your shit together. This team will continue to be undone against better teams and ultimately will lose in a disappointing fashion if they can't fix what that happened on Sunday night. And here is the biggest element of this last key. I don't think they can. I really don't think they can. So, yeah, they squeeze by the Packers, and that's exactly what happens. But now what do? Now we have a game here, just like we talked about after Washington, just like we talked about after Indianapolis. This is running back city coming up right now, and it starts with the king and Derrick Henry. Make no mistake. The Titans are going to ask. This is a rich man's version of what you just saw with Washington, except the defense arguably isn't as good, although they're punishing teams physically at least, and they lost a bad one. And they will bounce back. That line opened at 7. It's been bet down to 5 immediately. So there are people that are respected way more than me in the betting world that were taking, okay. This is not going to be an easy football game. And the Philadelphia Eagles losing this game is not the end of the world unless it's the way. That's the only time that I will allow panic is if they lose this game due to Derrick Henry doing whatever the hell he wants. All right? Look, it's a good time to be happy right now. Let's end on a positive note. 10-1 is a freaking great thing, and you should be happy that Jalen Hurts put up a historic number. You should be happy that the Eagles are doing things that nobody else in the NFL is doing right now, and we'll see you after a W against the Titans.